Bases dropped on Soccer's morning show here on the SDH Network. John, hear you there. Thanks for coming by on a Thursday. Thursday and Friday, gonna be busy on a couple of different fronts. We'll kind of lay out what's going on tomorrow morning. I will be in a hotel room in Columbus, Georgia, doing the morning show because of this is the time of year when the things kind of collide with high school football and with the commitments that are there and shooting sponsor things and all that kind of stuff. So I'll be in Columbus in a hotel room tomorrow morning, and we will have our standard Friday free-for-all as we get you ready for things on a couple of different fronts. Today it is something really cool at 9:15 after opening kickoff. Did you know that Coastal Outreach Soccer down in Brunswick is turning 20? I did not. And so we're going to find out a lot about Coastal Outreach down there in Brunswick. We'll find out first and foremost from, I think Shawn Williams, the program director, is going to be joining us. We'll find out how they are after Debbie decided to come storming through the front door and mess things up a little bit. So we'll see how things are for everybody down in Brunswick. But we'll catch up on Coastal Outreach, find out about Coastal Outreach, what it's been like to grow the sport of soccer down on the Georgia coast for the last 2 decades, what their own expectations are as they continue to grow. So find out the kind of impact that the sport has on the coast. And we've seen it in the high school ranks in the state of Georgia with programs like Richmond Hill, just up the freeway, up 95. And so, like I said, we'll catch up with our friends at Coastal Outreach Soccer coming up in just a little bit, and we'll get the 411 about what's going on in Glenn County. Obviously, hour number 2 is the Nino and Niko show. And what we're looking at today with Nino and Niko, obviously with Niko, we've already had matches in the round of 32 in Leagues Cup. And so we've got our first 2 winners that are in the round of 16. We'll go over that and find out what his thoughts are on Leagues Cup in general, the transfer window, all of that stuff, because we've got another week or so with the transfer window in Major League Soccer. So it'll be catching up with Niko there, probably with Nino, because Copa Libertadores, Copa Sudamericana are going to have matches between now and the time that we catch up next week. It will be a bit of an education as to what to watch if you're watching Libertadores, Sudamericana. Also, in addition to some soccer down there, maybe some soccer over there with the leagues that he's covering with GOLTV, just to kind of get a bit of a primer and get us ready for the season in Europe, what's going on in South America. So the wide-ranging conversations that we have with our buddy Nino Torres, and finding out what's going on with Raul Ruiz-Diaz, perhaps. So we'll see what's up with what's going on in the minds of Nino and Niko in hour number 2. And it's always fun to catch up with them and find out what's going on from their perspectives around the planet. Morning, Alex. Morning, D. Graham. Anything, as always, Thursday thoughts, whatever's on your mind, whatever's on the table. We've got transfer news to talk about overseas as we get ready, 8 days away from the Premier League, the Prem and the Premier League season. So there's still some overseas transfer news. Conor Gallagher apparently is official at Atletico Madrid. Kurt Zuma looks like he might be heading to Saudi Arabia. I think Al Ahly is going to be getting him on a free. And so we have all of that news to get into, all the gossip, rumor, and innuendo that's attached to that, and just kind of drifting in and out of all of the news and everything. Morning, David. Good to have you here as well. And whatever's on your mind, seriously, like Wall Pass Wednesday, we know what Wall Pass Wednesday is all about, anything that goes. And Thursday thoughts are kind of the carryover from that as we get ready for the weekend and all of that. So it's going to be a fun show from a bunch of different angles today. And we'll get you through all the news of the AM, get you ready for semifinals and things like that in Paris, and we'll drop all that info as well. Tomorrow, as I said, I'll be in a hotel room in Columbus, Georgia, but we are going to be catching up with a couple of folks in the 10 o'clock hour that are attached to the UPSL National Finals, and they are in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania at Highmark. And I know that we continue to make the easy play that Bob Lilly will be there, and he'll be screaming at 4 clubs instead of just one that he's not even a coach for. But we, in the 10 o'clock hour tomorrow, will be catching up with 2 of the 4 teams that are involved. We've reached out to the other two, have yet to hear back from them. So in a perfect world, hour number 2 tomorrow, we're going to be drifting in and out with all 4 of the clubs that are chasing after the national finals in the UPSL. Caught up with Rochester NYFC head coach Rory Charcola this morning. That will be playing in hour number 2 tomorrow. We've also are going to be catching up with our friends from Inland Empire FC. They will be in Pittsburgh because the matchups are Friday night and Sunday on BN Sports. And Jason's going to be a part of that call. So very, very cool there. So we're going to catch up with our friends from Inland Empire FC. They will be in Pittsburgh getting ready. I think they're flying out today. And so they'll be in Pittsburgh, probably in a hotel room at 10 o'clock. And so we'll catch up with Inland Empire FC tomorrow at 10. After that, we'll catch up with Rory Charcola and find out what's going on with Rochester NYFC. The 2 matchups, by the way, Rochester NYFC and Soda City FC. Soda City, we're still waiting to hear back from them and get their lowdown because they've had a crazy season and they've had a crazy playoff run. They got hot at the right time and they got into the playoffs because other clubs didn't want to. And so Soda City was the benefactor of others and they made the most of it. So Soda City is going to be playing Rochester NYFC at 6 o'clock tomorrow night from a Highmark. And like I said, this is on BN. And so BN, we can catch them pretty much wherever. If you have BN Sports, great. Roku, YouTube TV, Samsung TV Plus, Sling, Fubo, Pluto TV, Tubi, and more. And also our friends at Fanatis. So this gives me an early plug with our friends at Fanatis, fntz.co/soccer down here. You can get all the BNs. And so you can listen to Jason on the call from Pittsburgh with the matchups of Soda City and Rochester NYFC, followed by Dodge City, the Dodge City Toros and Inland Empire at 9. And so the national championship match is going to be played on Sunday, August 11th. So those are the matchups we're going to be hearing so far from 2 of the 4 teams that are going to be playing in that tournament, chasing after the UPSL title. And that'll be in hour number 2 in the national finals, the spring national finals tomorrow. Obviously at 9:30, if we can find out where in the world Greg Garza is, we'll catch up with him and our friends from Beyond Goals, which reminds me, Cano Smith named Coach of the Month for the USL Championship. And so that means that I need to catch up with our friends at Rhode Island FC to see if we can get Cano Smith on the show to discuss everything that's been going on from all of those early draws that they had in the season to those draws now turning into wins. And now they're north of the playoff bar, and you're getting all of the stuff with the stadium and all of these things that are happening with Rhode Island FC. So very, very cool stuff for our buddy Michael Parkhurst and Cano Smith and the first-year franchise Rhode Island FC. Let me see if there it is, right over the Alliance Nurse Corps sign right there. That's a Rhode Island FC representation. So that is there. And then obviously whatever is on your mind to kick things off as we get ready for Leagues Cup and everything else that's going to be happening. We'll get you ready for the weekend in the 9 o'clock hour. We'll get you ready for the weekend in the 10 o'clock hour. We're covering UPSL and our friends from Beyond Goals on the Friday Free Kick. Reminding me, Alliance Nurse Corps. I think the sign's kind of getting the sign's finally getting back to its straight constitutional self. Our friends at Alliance Nurse Corps, over 30 years of experience trying to connect folks to their new careers in nursing across the board. And so that's why I try to hide the QR codes from this, unless you want to click into our friends at Alliance Nurse Corps, in addition to our friends from Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. But yeah, you hit that QR code from our friends at Alliance Nurse Corps. It says select soccer down here. When you say, how'd you hear about us? You hit that QR code and your career in nursing is off and running with our friends from Alliance Nurse Corps. So that is opening kickoff, brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com, as I cover up the Alliance Nurse Corps QR code just so you can sit there and see this. And you hit that QR code, you go to Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. What you do there, you get your Kickoff Coffee, you kick off your day, use the code SoccerDownHere15, you get 15% off your purchase. They, in turn, take 10% reinvested into youth initiatives, cool stuff from our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. All right. Other stuff going on, other guests that we're chasing. With the EFL Championship starting tomorrow, I believe, we are efforting Poppy Miller because that's a great deal that they signed at CBS Sports Network to add the EFL to all of their stacks, and so we're chasing Poppy as well. All right, 9:15. right on time. And so I have opening kickoff plenty. Now it's time to go down to Brunswick and Glenn County and catch up with our friend Shawn Williams, the program director at Coastal Outreach Soccer. Coach, thanks for dropping by this morning. I really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you for having us, man. It's always a pleasure.
When you turned 20, I mean, that's a big number for what anyone does when it comes to efforts for growing a sport on any level. Has it sunk in that Coastal Outreach is now 20?
No, it hasn't. I mean, it's been a whirlwind with planning our kickoff celebration, but definitely never saw this coming. Never, you just go to work, right? You just go to work and just one day at a time, man. And you look up and it's like, wow, we've been at this for 20 years.
Do you remember your first day on the job?
So yeah, in some yes, it's great to still be in the same park in which we start. So the other week, I actually just walked out onto the field and just stood there and just looked at amazement at just how far we've come. But to be honest with you, now I don't have a soccer playing background, a soccer coaching background. So my first day on starting this was like, how the world do we start to teach this game? But definitely, man, it's been a love affair from day one.
What's it been like for you to learn the sport in addition to helping others learn the sport and learn about the sport? How much of an education has this been for you in this whole time?
It's been tremendous. And I can tell you this, in the beginning, I really relied on my boys, my sons, and my daughter that they had started playing the game. And so I would go in there and ask them about terminology. And, I would go and stand back and just watch other coaches. But it has been, I share people with, it combines so much of all of the things I love in sports. This is the ultimate player's game. I was always that type of athlete that, hey man, just give me the game plan and let me go out there and execute. So it has been a tremendous effort, but I have enjoyed it, every minute of it. Just learning this game and really falling in love with the game, right? So this is 18 to 20 hours a day, 7 days. But it never seems that way. It's like I'm falling asleep thinking about this game, and I'm waking up thinking about this game, and it's so exciting every day to get to do this.
When you look at how the sport has grown on the coast, for someone who drives by on I-95 and they just sit there and they get gas, and they'll go to the big exit with the car dealerships right there. They'll get their gas to go back on the way. Believe me, from the time that I've spent down there with Pirates and Red Terrors, I know all about that property, sir. When you have folks who may not know what the sport is and what it means, how would you describe how it has become part of the fabric down there in Brunswick and Glenn County, and where has it come from? You mentioned your own education. What has it been like to see it grow, and how is it a part of the fabric down there?
So when we started this, it was, hey, can we recruit 6 kids? Can we go out and find 6 kids to start playing some 3v3 with, that type of stuff, to now, this year we're going to have 4 travel teams, right? And so this is the first time for us to reach, and then having another 50 to 60 elementary age students that are also participating. One of the things when we started this, and I don't know how it was for you in your childhood, right? We would go play pickup, right? It would be, hey man, let's get our boys together, and whether it was it's basketball time or football time, and we would just go from neighborhood to neighborhood just playing pickup. And that was one of the things that when we started this, we wanted to see, can we start pickup? but you start to see children, kids just out here with a ball. We just create the space for them. This past summer, we had our summer camps, and that's what it became, pickup. Hey, coach, we going out with the ball, and they would organize themselves, and you see the creativity. You see, hey, today we're doing rainbows, right? And you see the kids out here trying to do rainbows on each other. And it's like, hey, we could care less about the scoring, but hey, can I nutmeg you? Can I rainbow you? Can I flip this ball over here? So you see that growth from a community that had no idea what a soccer ball looked like, what this game meant, to have a group of middle school and high school boys and girls now being connected globally to the game, being connected to Atlanta United, being connected to the collegiate game. That's what we see. So the sport is continuing to grow, but it's a new generation that says, okay, just give me the ball, and let me get out here and be creative. And that's what we're starting to see.
Shawn Williams, Program Director at Coastal Outreach Soccer down on the coast there in Brunswick as they turn 20, hanging out with us here on the morning show. I mean, for me growing up, yeah, it's like you're going out into the neighborhood, you're playing pickup, you're yelling across the street, you're grabbing your friends, you're grabbing the kid that, might not necessarily be a part of the group, but you yell it because you need even numbers anyway.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And you're out there until the parents sit there and they start yelling your name, and then they yell your full name, and then it's time to come inside for dinner. Mm-hmm. That's the way it was when I was growing up back in the days of black and white television and only 3 channels. But it sounds like to me that this labor of love that you and Neil Dawson and Otis Muhammad and Jalen and some guy named Shawn Jr. Are a part of. It has turned into this labor of love that still has a lot of growing to do.
Oh yes, it does. I can tell you this: we're having college coaches now starting to discover what we have. We're that diamond in the rough type of situation where, so they're starting to see that, but you're starting to see just how much these kids enjoy the sport, just want to play it all day, every day, and just need that access. And that's what we're providing, that access. Our students are participating, and there's no cost. There is no cost to them. We're out here. We raise all of the funds, and our community and corporate sponsors just have been great in that aspect. But just to see every day wanting to say, no, you cannot go out on the field today. Y'all need to come inside. It's 90 plus degrees out here. You can't be out here. No, then they'll come inside the building, and now they're juggling in the building. It's like, man, just put the ball down for 5 minutes, right?
Well, but I mean, that's kind of like that double-edged sword we talk about, where you get them interested and then you get them hooked. And yes. Then when you see a young boy or girl turn into someone who understands what teamwork is, understands all of the things that soccer brings to the table, that to me, I would posit pretty simply is part of what makes it worthwhile on a bunch of different fronts. When you see that light come on for someone who comes in under your tent and they learn about the game, but then they finally get it and you get to see that moment happen. What's that like for you guys when you get to see the light come on?
When you see it come on, it is something of amazement, because you start to see them take command and start to dictate, right? And they're then sharing that. And I think that's one of the other great parts of this, right? That our alums, our current players, they're always sharing that information. And we had a deal where we had one of our alums, his nephew, was out on the field with a bunch of our players one day. And he said, "Coach, can you go get me a marker?" And I'm like, "What do you need a marker for?" He's 7 years old. He's like, I want some autographs. So I go out and get him a marker, and he's walking around. You know, none of these guys are professional players, and but in his eyes, right, he see them doing something now at the age that he loves. He's all talking to his uncle and his grandfather is Coach Otis. He actually started playing this game on vacation with an orange, dribbling a orange across the floor while they were on vacation. And that's how he started playing this game. And that's the purity. And I think that's what we are really striving to have, is just being the pure part of this game and the joy that comes with it, and all of the life lessons and the experiences that our students get to have with traveling out of Brunswick and visiting all the cities and all the places throughout the state of Georgia. And so that's that light bulb when they get it, and it's saying, wow, Coach, I can't, like one of the young men shared with me, soccer is life.
When you get to tour the state, how much of an education is it for you, where you can bring back information and continue to add things to coastal outreach? I would imagine that when you go to other places, and some of them might be, and I'm going to use air quotes, atypical soccer communities, where everyone might gravitate to Atlanta or Statesboro or what have you when it comes to the high school ranks. But if you go to an atypical soccer community and you tour with coastal outreach, how much do you learn and how much feedback do you get from all of these other places that you visit? How much of an exchange of information is there, and how much do you learn from each other?
So one, I'm going to speak from our kids' standpoint, our students, especially when we go to Atlanta. You got to realize some of our students never been really off their block until they're traveling with us. And so, they've seen high-rise buildings on TV, but to ride through downtown Atlanta and just to see them glued to the windows and, Coach, I've never seen buildings this tall before. And so some of the things that we sometimes take for granted is so monumental in the lives of a lot of the students that we work with. So it's always that exchange, right? Riding through, going into a soccer complex, and you're riding by houses that are just immaculate. And they're in awe about that as well. So it's the simple things that really drives us and drives them to say, Coach, I've never seen this before. For us on the other side, it isn't a great, I've always, when we visit complexes, it's always good to get there. And I like to sometimes take a step back, because I'm always looking, how do I learn from this game? How do what are other coaches doing? What are other programs doing that we can come back and add to? Because again, especially in the beginning of this process, we were trying to learn. And then, and it's always a good exchange of information. So so we get a lot of questions of, how were you able to sustain what you're doing? How are you able to go out and recruit? You've been working with the school system for 20 years, the public housing for 20 years, the city for 20 years. How have you managed those relationships? And then being able to grow from, like I say, a small group to now serving over 200 students. And I'm saying we're serving 200 families. And we found that that's our magic number. Some people have asked us, can you grow bigger? And we tried that. And it's like, no, we don't know the families and we don't know the children. And that's important. So it's always a great dialogue of exchanging information. And we play a system that's, 4-3-3 system. And I really spent some time with Ajax videos in the beginning. And so I somehow found this group of tapes, and it was like, okay, total football. And that's what we have built our program based on that philosophy of total football.
Total football in Glenn County and Brunswick. I love it. You mentioned something that I did want to get into, and it's navigating the off the field and the financial landscape. You said that you found your sweet spot at 200 families. How difficult is it economically to be consistent and sustain and stay in that sweet spot of 200 when it comes to navigating economics? How difficult is it these days?
It's very hard, So every year, every day, every month, it is, how do we raise the funds, right? How do we, and we're talking about providing uniforms. We're talking about providing free after school program for 6th grade to 12th grade students. We're talking about our STEM and academic and the college visits, bringing in college coaches. So it is, we cover the transportation. We provide the meal when we are out of town. We provide weekly fresh produce. So it is very difficult, at times. And sometimes sometimes we are saying, how are we going to make it this month? But somehow we've always been able to make it through with making the adjustments. But we have always said we are not. We know we're going to be at our 200, and every one of our students is very important. I mean, we take them into the sporting goods store. And so some of our students, and we didn't realize this in the beginning, that we would have some parents come over to us and say, this is really their first experience when you're saying, here's your budget, and you can go out and choose the item that you want, that you need in order to be, whether that's a pair of socks, a pair of shin guards, for our girls, sports bras, and so again, and getting your foot measured, so that you are actually purchasing a pair of shoes that fit your foot versus walking into a thrift store and saying, hey, I like that pair of shoes. And so whether that shoe is the right size or not, you like it. So that's what you get. So again, it's the simple things, but it is very difficult sometimes financially to navigate this landscape. But we understand that we have no other choice. We have to figure it out for our families, for our students, and we know the impact, not only in Glenn County, but on the state, that our program is having, when we're traveling and we're getting those interactions with other clubs.
And the other reason that we wanted to have you on this week is because we talk about you turning 20. It's a special night tomorrow from 6 to 9 for those that are anywhere within earshot of you. Now that Debbie's out of the way,
yes,
and everybody's back to getting on the roads. Special night tomorrow from 6 to 9 at Queen and Grant. Tell everybody about it.
So we're going to kick off our 20th-year celebration tomorrow night with a celebration dinner. We're going to be having, so live music with a jazz performer from 6 to 7. Then a great dinner has been planned, and then you're going to get to hear some impact stories. Some impact stories from, COS students, alums, volunteers, our mayor, and just for us to take a moment. And that's going to be our moment right there, right? To just sit and take it in that, hey, we're turning 20, but we have a lot of things planned over this next 12 months that we will be celebrating each month. But tomorrow night is the kickoff. And if you're here, if you're near Glenn County, please come out and celebrate with us. Come break bread, as they say. with us tomorrow night and listen to some great music and some great fellowship with those that love soccer, those that don't have any idea what soccer is, but love children and seeing that their development.
Looking forward to it. And you can get your tickets at coastaloutreachsoccer.com. All one word, coastaloutreachsoccer.com. Coach, love what you guys are doing down there at Coastal Outreach, what you guys have done for the last 19 years, what you're looking to do for the next 1900 years as you turn 20 down there in Brunswick. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for the education. And go have an amazing amount of fun tomorrow night down there. And we wish you nothing but the best. And don't be a stranger. Check in anytime.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for having us.
That's Coach. That's Coach, the program director at Coastal Outreach Soccer, Shawn Williams. And when I was doing the research for having Coach on and finding out about Coastal Outreach, here's how things started 20 years ago for them. 15 players in a Head Start program back in 2004. And now you're with 200 families there in Glenn County and in Brunswick, and you're traveling and you're touring and you're giving young men and women, young girls and boys, the chance to experience something that they get to learn about. They get to learn about travel. They get to learn about all of these different aspects of the sport and what it can give. And they're doing it down there in Brunswick and Glenn County. And so they've gone from 15 players to 200 families in 20 years. Tomorrow night is their big shindig down there. So I will put my hand in the air and say, if you are anywhere within earshot and you want to go and see what Coastal Outreach Soccer has been able to do as they are heading into year 20, then go to coastaloutreachsoccer.com. You can find out more about Coastal Outreach and what COS has been able to do and what they're doing, all the support and all the connections that they have and everything that they've been able to build over time. But really cool that we were able to catch up with Shawn and everybody and find out more about Coastal Outreach. Very, very cool stuff there from our friends at Coastal Outreach Soccer, celebrating their 20th anniversary kickoff tomorrow night in Brunswick from 6 to 9. coastaloutreachsoccer.com. They're not on the Twitters. They are on Facebook. They're on Instagram, and they are on the World Wide Web. Where else are they? In YouTube. So Coastal Outreach Soccer on Instagram, on YouTube, and on Facebook. Not on the 280 character app, but if you want to reach out to them, you can and find out more about what they've been doing, what they are doing, and what they look to do. So very, very cool that we were able to catch up with folks down there at Coastal Outreach, and the fact that we were able to do it before tomorrow night, just so we could kind of let everybody know what's going on down there at Coastal Outreach. So very, very cool. And I can't thank Shawn enough for coming in this morning. And literally it was short notice. It's like, hey, can you come in and can you talk about things? He's like, okay, what day are you thinking? I said Thursday in this time slot. And he's like, yep, absolutely. And so we were able to catch up. But no, very, very cool stuff with everybody down there at Coastal Outreach Soccer. And if you want to learn, if you want to find out more, like I said, you can go to the web and go to their social medias and find out everything that's going on there. Okay, so last night, Leagues Cup, we now have some folks that have made it into the next round. And you have 4 more matches today and one of them involving Seattle at 10:30. Niko Moreno joining us at 10:30 Eastern, not 10:30 Pacific time. But 10:30 Eastern coming up in an hour, and he'll break down everything in Leagues Cup, everything that's on his mind. But what happened last night, it was Denny Buanga and Hugo Lloris actually getting an assist in the 11th minute. And that ends up being the match winner. So LAFC advances into the round of 16. We'll go over the bracket coming up in just a little bit. But as that bracket tends to lean, if you believe in chalk, you could have El Trafico late in the brackets as you get closer and closer to the middle of the page when it comes to Leagues Cup. Also last night, with the LAFC's win over Austin to start the round of 32, Pumas knocked off Vancouver 2-0 in the rankings of 20 and 22. So Leagues Cup, you now have LAFC and Pumas in the round of 16. You've got the matches tonight. Inter Miami, so Messi and friends hosting Toronto FC. No Messi, still nursing the ankle injury, but without Messi, they're 7-2. They have found other ways to win, other folks to win. There is word out of South Florida that it looks like Angel Di Maria is not going to be coming because he signed a contract extension with Benfica. And so check a name off the list that Messi and friends are not going to be able to bring in because of all of the things. So one last name there, but the Marco Royce, the Marco Royce Dibs deal looks like that's going to work its way through for at least a year and a half, and it has been given a here we go status. So now that means that you got to keep an eye on Griezmann, and if LAG ends up with Marco Royce, does LAFC chase after Griezmann? Thoughts were that this is going to happen at some point. If it doesn't happen in this window, it'll happen in some window, just not right yet, like now yet. So Inter Miami and Messi and friends chasing after more friends. No real surprise. Tigres and Pachuca is a big matchup tonight. It's on the free side of Apple TV. It's also on Unimas and FS1. That's going to be a heavyweight battle, and that one is at Q2 in Austin, Texas. That should be a great crowd and a fantastic environment for that matchup. I'd love to know what the ticket prices are going for on the secondary market. And like you're walking up and you go to that meadow in the north end zone, and folks are saying, got 2 tickets, that kind of a thing. I want to know what that looks like. 10:30 Seattle and LA. That one is at Lumen. And then the back end of the doubleheader on the free side of Apple TV, Unimas and FS1, San Jose and Necaxa. That is at PayPal Park. And that one is tonight. We'll go over juice boxes once again when Niko Moreno joins us. Big weekend, 4 matches tonight. Then tomorrow you've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Wow, 9 matches tomorrow. So they ain't wasting no time. You got 9 matches tomorrow, 9 matches tomorrow after the 1, 2, 3, 4 tonight. So 9, 4, and 2. That's okay. My math is off by 1 here. Wait a minute. Okay, so we had now I'm anal retentive about trying to find 16. So it was 2 last night. 1, 2, 3, 4 tomorrow. So that's 6. And then 3, 6, 9, 10. There we go. Okay, so it's 10 on Friday night. Okay, so 10 on Friday night. That was where I was wrong. It's 10, not 9, John. So there you go. A lot of big numbers, and we'll go over that when once again when Niko drops by. But round of 32, left-hand side of the bracket, Puma will take on the winner of Seattle and LAG. And this is low left as you're filling things out in pen. And so LAFC with their win will get the winner of San Jose and Necaxa. But, as it looks, it could be LA, it could be LAG. You could have El Tráfico in the round of 8 to get into the semifinals, to get out of that low left bracket. Pumas, I know, is going to want something to say about it, as is Seattle. But like I said, we'll go over Leagues Cup more and more in hour number 2 with Niko Moreno when he joins us for the last half hour of the show, as he traditionally does. Gossip, rumor, and innuendo. Let's get into that and what to watch, where to watch it, and how to watch it. When it comes to all of the activity overseas, the Manchester United, once again, keep an ear out for your next 3D, because I'm going to want Drew to tackle everything when it comes to when it comes to Manchester United, because they're not going to demolish Old Trafford, even if they build a new stadium. They're not going to demolish Old Trafford. Okay, I would think that you'd want parking, but apparently the women's and academy teams may play their future matches in a vastly reduced capacity Old Trafford. Because right now the plan is to build New Trafford and have it be 100,000 folks. But according to our friends at the Telegraph, it would be preserved in a scaled down form from 74,000 to 30, used as a venue for women's academy and team matches. So I guess they would just raise the upper deck and have it be like a lower bowl kind of a thing. Return to something in more keeping with how it looked before the expansion in 95, raised the capacity from 44,000. Officials are reluctant to bulldoze the ground as they are conscious of how emotive an issue it is for fans. So, repurposing Old Trafford while you're building New Trafford. Keeping the statues in the same locations, only surviving part of the original 1910 stadium after it was bombed in World War II. The Old Trafford Regeneration Task Force, chaired by Lord Coe, Gary Neville, Andy Burnham, initially concluded that a new build rather than a redevelopment would be the best way to truly transform the fan experience in the surrounding area. Final decision expected until December. And apparently United folks have been visiting an array of stadium developments like so what happens when liquid goes down the wrong way, like SoFi, and looking at the Bears project in Burnham Park. So that's what they're staring at. It looks like it would cost £2 billion to make, 6 years to build. Redeveloping Old Trafford would be estimating a cost of $1.2 billion, could take longer to finish, and then you'd be playing in a heavily reduced capacity for years. And so that's what you're staring at. But no fan wants to have all of that torn down, so it looks like they might scale it down and have the women's and the academy teams be a part of it. Transfer news, looks like Wilf Zaha might be coming back for round 3. He might be coming back for round 3 on a loan back from the Turkish Super League. But Galatasaray want a big price tag attached to it. Zaha had 1 season in Turkey, signed for big money, and after a year, he's like, nah, I'm out. I'd like to leave now, please. Galatasaray seeking a loan fee of around £9 million to cover some of the cost of the player wages. 42 matches last year. No longer a starter at the end of the year and ended up coming off the bench. And so you can understand why Wilf Zaha's like, I'm kind of looking at another place. Palace also is eyeing Trevor Chalobah on a £25 million deal to replace Mark Gahey. Also, they're staring at Wolfsburg's Maxence Lacroix. Gahey's wanted by Newcastle. There you go, Alex. Which is forcing Palace to start giving consideration on how you replace Mark Gahey. And that's where Chalobah and Lacroix come in. Lacroix has a year left on his deal. Chalobah's been made available for transfer. Chelsea apparently values him at $25 million. All the numbers are in pounds, by the way. Left in limbo after being left off the tour that came to the States. He's been training with development in U21s. And so now that they're back, Enzo Maresca still is probably going to have Chalobah training with the younger sides. Chalobah turned down a move to Nottingham Forest last year. 4 years left on the deal. And Romelu Lukaku's status also remains in limbo. Napoli have yet to make an offer, and they're probably going to wait till the bitter end. So you still interested? How about $7? Okay. Lukaku believed to have agreed in principle to move to Napoli, where he wants to link back up with Antonio Conte, but the Italian club has yet to agree to a deal. He also turned down a move to Saudi Arabia last year. No interest from anybody in Saudi Pro. And so the Chelsea Napoli Lukaku bit also has Victor Osimhen in the wave of the boat going down the river. Chelsea would be prepared to take on a loan for the season, despite the fact Chelsea expected to sign Samu Amorodian from Atletico Madrid for $35 million. So in a way, kind of Conor Gallagher and Amorodian is a bit of a swap, even though it's not. Club would take Osimhen on a loan. Alfie Gilchrist, by the way, has also joined Sheffield United on loan, who were relegated to the Championship after one of the worst seasons in recent memory for a club in the Premier League. Manchester City have agreed to an £81.5 million deal with Atletico for Julian Alvarez. Alvarez obviously not really happy with the lack of playing time that he was getting while he was incredibly productive for Manchester City. Alvarez apparently wants to be the guy, capital T, capital G. Signed for $14 million in 2022. We all looked at the deal at the time and we're going, man, you did a good piece of business. $81.5 million with Atletico Madrid for Julian Alvarez. Initial 75 million euro fee, City getting a further 20 in add-on. So it could be 95 million euro by the time it's done. 81.5 million pounds. Making a 67.5 million pound profit on Julian Alvarez, who they signed from River Plate. Agreed to personal terms back on Tuesday. Wanted to become a first choice starter, and Atletico Madrid going like, yep, we'll take him. City's like, well, okay. Savinho is the only purchase this summer. And now the question is for Manchester City, are they going to be chasing after reinforcements now that Alvarez is gone? Savinho came from Troy, a sister club, for 33.6. And that's the only move that they've made. Kicked the tires on Bruno Guimaraes, but they didn't want to meet Newcastle's 100 million pound valuation. According to the Telegraph, if they bring someone in, it could open the door for James McAtee. Attacking midfielder spent the past 2 seasons on loan at Sheffield United. Diego Simeone apparently was desperate to get Alvarez, even prepared to offer Joao Felix as a make-weight. So it would have been cash plus player. Atletico's also signed Sorloth from Villarreal. Alvarez was their top target. 36 goals in 103 appearances. But he wanted to be the guy, capital T, capital G. 2 Premier League titles, Champions League, FA Cup, Club World Cup. Copa America, representing his country. But he didn't want to play backup anymore to Erling Haaland. Liverpool have targeted Zubamendi in a £51.5 million deal. The Real Sociedad midfielder has been tagged by Ernest Slutt as one of the guys that could really work well for him at the 6. So Zubamendi, keep an eye on that. Buyout clause of 60 million euro when they renegotiated the terms less than 2 years ago. So 51.5 million on the buyout. Can control matches from central midfield, which is what Ernest Slutt wants. Liverpool signed Endo from Stuttgart last summer, and he's been a success. Zubamendi would be anticipated to be adding control to the midfield. Finished 6th last year. Made the last 16 at Champions League before being beaten by PSG. Regular for his club, 45 times in all comps. Slutt has yet to make a major signing after coming from Feyenoord. Thiago and Joel Matip left in the offseason. The price tag on Gahey looks like it's going to be $60 million. That's the number. Leeds are going to make a £7 million transfer offer on Norwich winger Jonathan Rowe. And did you see this? Did you see? I'm just going to read the story because it is definitely one of those where you sit there and you go, what? 2 Polish referees have been stood down from Tuesday's Champions League match between Rangers and Dynamo Kyiv after they were reportedly arrested for drunkenly stealing a road sign. Once again, Sam Dean at the Telegraph. Bartosz Frankowski and Tomasz Musial were selected to work as VAR and AVAR for the qualifying match taking place in Lublin in Poland on Tuesday night. But their names are no longer on the UEFA match list following reports in Poland that they were among 3, quote, intoxicated, end quote, men who had destroyed road infrastructure in the city. Quote, at around 1:40 a.m., pause. What is it that we say about 1 a.m.? Nothing good happens after 1 a.m. Transfer deadlines are usually midnight. That's why Big Ben rolls at midnight. 1:40 a.m. Nothing good happens after 1 a.m. So 40 minutes into the no good time, Senior Superintendent Kamil Golubyovsky, the press officer of the Lublin City Police HQ, told TVP Sport. At around 1:40 a.m., we received a report of 3 men carrying a road sign down the street. I'm not kidding. Superintendent Golubyovsky did not say that. I did. Continuing, quote, police officers were dispatched to the scene. All of the men were intoxicated and had over 1.5 per meal of alcohol in their blood. They were taken to a sobering up center. I have to use that term in the future. A sobering up center. You're right, Derek. It is average rural Georgia behavior. Full disclosure. And I figure we're past the statute of limitations. My college roommate back in the late 1790s, he and a lot of guys on our hall, they would go out into the countryside on the weekends. You know, they would just go and they would, find meadows and they would just go and hang out and, go to the coast and they would, they'd have a good time and then they would come back. One of those weekends when they all went out into the suburbs or into the forests or into the farmland or whatever you want to call it, they came back with one of the coolest road signs I had ever seen. It's the old Canopy road sign. And they unhooked it, unscrewed it, whatever the proper term is, from its base, brought it into the dorm room, and hung it on the wall. I mean, it was a really cool road sign. The only problem is that some days, in the hall that didn't have any air conditioning at the time, you've got your fans and everything. You're opening doors and you're letting the ventilation work its way through from one end of the hall to the other. Door was open and campus security is doing there's walking random halls and things like that. Campus security sees our door open and they see the Canopy Road sign hanging on the wall. Campus security wants to know whose room that is. And my roommate and I go, well, it's ours. My roommate at the time gets a bit of an earful from campus security about, you're not supposed to have road signs in your room because they are Department of Transportation property and they're supposed to be outside, doing their job. My roommate said, well, this was on the ground and it had been on the ground for a while and we cleaned it up and it, it was there and we just decided we didn't know that and we brought it in. Campus security didn't really buy that. They told us to take the sign down. We did. But they didn't take it with them, which seemed odd. So we kept it, and campus security never circled back to get the sign. Like I said, this is back in the late 1790s, with horse-drawn carriages and black and white TV and that kind of a thing. But, yeah, apparently road signs that aren't on roads doing their job are not supposed to be hanging in college dorm rooms. But security didn't take the sign with them. So the sign ended up staying, and we put it back up on the wall. Nothing like those kinds of adventures in college. The Polish Football Association, by the way, vowed to terminate the contracts of the two officials if the reports in the Polish media are confirmed to be true. Frankowski and Musial are both referees in the top division of Polish football. Polish FA said in a statement they're going to conduct a detailed analysis of the situation following reports of inappropriate conduct. If the above information is confirmed, the College of Referees, see, I didn't read this release, but apparently it's a referee college in Poland, will apply to the Secretary General of the Federation to terminate the contracts with the referees. Case forwarded to the DISCO of the PFA, Polish Football Association, which may decide to impose further disciplinary consequences. The refs have been replaced by 2 fellow countrymen. Frankowski is regarded as one of the leading referees in Poland and was on VAR duty for Real Madrid and Bayern Munich. But apparently, he was part of a group of folks that after 1 o'clock in the morning, they did something they were not supposed to do. Apparently, allegedly, possibly, maybe, probably. So, there you go. Quick news out of Messi and friends. Schneider Borgelin's gone after 2 seasons, completed a move to Vinsissel of the Danish First Division, 19 appearances, scoring twice, 133 minutes of action in 2024. So Schneider Borgelin is out at Messi and friends. So clearing space. That's what Messi and friends are doing. They're clearing space. They've got their capologist. Chris Henderson's ready, clearing the decks. Make you wonder who's next. Who is next? That's the big question. It is the beginning of hour number 2 on a Thursday. You know what that means. It is time to catch up with our friends across the world. Time to catch up with friends across the planet. Find out what's going on. And catch up with our buddy Nino and our buddy Niko in a half an hour. I had a different page open, and I heard the magical entry note, and then apparently it disappeared. So now I'm going to have to filibuster a little more. Let's go with what to watch, where to watch it, how to watch it. Let's do that while we're waiting for Nino to jump in this morning, because he does have topics that he wants to talk about, and there's anniversaries. He's got an anniversary for his fandom that's there. So there's stuff to talk about with Nino coming up in a sec. Okay, Leagues Cup, Apple TV Season Pass, 7:30, 9, 10:30, and 11. Fox Soccer Plus has the Central American Cup at 8. Port Loyola and Olympia. NBC Sports has Morocco and Egypt at noon, and Paramount Plus. And Peacock has the matchups as well. So there you go. It's a light day, but it's all focused on what's going on in Paris. All right, after 10 o'clock Eastern Time. And what this means is we go and check in on a man and see if he's done his burpees on his patio on his porch. How healthy is he? Nino, how healthy are you, sir?
Very healthy, man. I'm very, very healthy because I fell asleep deeply.
Okay.
I just woke up 10 minutes ago, man.
Seriously?
10 minutes ago. Yeah. I made me sick last night.
Oh, wow.
I made me sick last night. No, nothing bad. It's just, I want to tell you what was the mistake. So just watching TV and at midnight, just shopping, and I found Saving Private Ryan.
Uh-oh.
So I started watching Saving Private Ryan at midnight. So, yeah. And I always follow the rules, right? My buddy Beto told me, you got to sleep 8 hours, man. You cannot sleep 6 hours, man. 2 a.m., you do the math. So I was just got up, man. Just took a shower and ready to roll, man.
Well, so where's your morning cup of coffee? Where's the caffeine?
I don't even have a morning cup of coffee, man. I got just water, man.
Wow.
Just got my cold shower, water, and then after this, I'm gonna get my ginormous breakfast, of course.
Yes.
I'm not following that fasting thing that when you eat every 12 to 14 hours. So last meal was last night at 8 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm about to get it going in a few minutes.
Ginormous breakfast. Okay, so we won't hold you from your ginormous breakfast, but what I like to do is pick your brain, because you get to bring a perspective from your house and where you are. And what I want to do is, there's a lot of other stuff going on than just Major League Soccer, than just what's going on in Paris. you are one of the busiest men in show business, and you are calling matches from one planet to the next, and you're all over the place. And what I wanted to do was get your thoughts on soccer down there and soccer over there, because you look at Portugal, you know, Libertadores and Sudamericana, and we got matchups coming up before the next time you and I get the chance to speak. So what I wanted to do was let everybody know what's going on inside your brain and what you're looking at these days, so we all can take the journey with you. That's what I wanted to do this week.
Awesome. I can do that for you guys. And first off, I'm gonna show you something here before we start the conversation. Because
there's
my Universitario de Porto shirt. 100-year anniversary, August 7th of 1924. My team was founded, and yesterday we got a spectacular celebration. 80,000 people showed out of the stadium. Artists from everywhere in the continent. Fireworks, a party. It was just, all the legends, the alive legends, showed up to the stadium, to the Monumental, and it was a fantastic party. It was a fantastic party, and it just it brings me so much joy and so much memories about my team, because unlike any other soccer fan in the planet, your memories are coming from your dad taking you to the stadium, right? And the crazy part is my dad was a fan. He's a fan of this team. And all my three brothers were all fan of the same team. But we never got to go to the stadium with my dad to watch his team. Wow. It was crazy. It was just, we followed the tradition, all the passion that my dad was talking about his team. And we just fell in love with the same thing as my dad. My dad is our hero. And we fell in love with the team without even going to the stadium to watch his team. And that's what it's. I posted that yesterday. I was bowling yesterday. It was so emotional yesterday. It was great, man. It was great.
I mean, 80,000 folks, and you're crying like a baby. But that's what that means to you, though. I mean, that's just it. We have those teams that we attach to. Yours, you're wearing the jersey this morning to let everybody know about Universitario. How are they right now in season? What, are you pulling your hair out? Is everybody all happy and hopping up and down? What's going on with them this year?
It's actually, we couldn't dream a better season, man. We won the we are the current champions, right? I got my notifications. Of course.
This alert's going from the 4-letter. I know how this works.
We won the championship. We are the current champions. We won the Apertura, which is the first tournament of the year, and we're in second place in the second tournament of the year. And we're arch rivals. They hate us so much. They lost their coach. They lost the Clásico. They fired the coach last year. They fired the coach this year. They got all sorts of troubles, man. And you know what they did? You know what they did yesterday? This is how low class is this current front office of Alianza Lima, which are the arch rivals. Every team in the country, and even Infantino sent a message to us, right? And I recognize us as the winningest team in the country. You know what they did last night?
What?
That was just so low, man. Their anniversaries they're 23 years older than us. They're 1901, we're 1924. At 9:01 exactly, their CM posted, congratulations to Junior de Barranquilla, which is the team from Colombia. They also got an anniversary yesterday. Congratulations to this other team, to the Federation of something. And on. Universitario, yeah, that's you too. Like in third place. It's 100 years, man. Just show some class, man. Show some class and show some respect. We respect you when you got your 100 years. All right, everybody says congratulations, la la la. But no, they hate us so much, and that's why I like it, man. I love it. I love it. I enjoy so much every time they win. We beat them. That's why they get to deserve all the the trash talking that we go against them, man.
Yeah, the way that things currently are right now in Liga 1, you're 2 points back after 5 matches. Alianza Lima 4-0-1. You and Sporting Cristal have each lost a match in your first 5, so that's why you're 2 points back. And this weekend, you have a match against Sport Huancayo.
Yeah, in Huancayo.
And Alianza Lima has a matchup against Tarma this weekend to take care of what's going on in the league. When it comes to the league in and of itself, who would you recommend? I'm going to have you put on your player personnel hat. I'm going to have you put on your general manager hat.
Yeah.
Who are some of the players in the league? And if you want to take players from Universitario, you can. But I know you want to keep that roster as locked in as possible.
Yeah.
Who are some of the players in the league that when we watch, we drift in, we sit there and we watch the matchups? Who are some of the folks to gravitate toward, and who are some of the folks in the league that could leave there, maybe come to Major League Soccer, do well in a new environment? Who are some of the studs and stars in the league right now?
Well, there are a couple from Sporting Cristal, but one, I think he will go to the MLS because he's 37 years old. But his name is Martin Cauterucho, right? Get this. He has 26 goals, right? And he got injured for like 2 months. He has twice as much goals as any other player in the league. 26, and the next one has 13. 26 goals. It's crazy. He's on pace to break the record of 40 goals in one season. I'm pretty sure that he's going to do it because he scores every time he plays. He scores doubles or hat tricks, or it's just insane. And the crazy part is the positioning of this guy. You always say about the strikers, right? Oh, the ball always comes to him. Now, I want to say 100% of the times the ball comes to this guy. He's just so cool. He's just like you see the guy. You see the guy. He's just walking in the air. You know, he just got the ball. Effortless goals. And every single. I don't think he jumped on any header that he got on this season. He doesn't even jump. He's like puck. And we scored 2 goals and got a hat trick, and it's insane. Now the other player from the same team is Santiago Gonzalez from Argentina. That was a great work in scouting from Sporting Cristal. The guy is the probably the best winger in the nation right now. He's so talented. He's so deep. He carries the team in offense. From Sporting Cristal. Those are the 2 players that I'm excited to watch on this season. All the players that are there from Universitario Deportes. I love the way that Jairo Concha is elevating his game, because when we signed him at the beginning of the season, we knew that he's inconsistent, but he's so talented, right? His highs are really high, but his lows are really low. That's the only bad ticket we can get out of Jairo. But now in this second half of the year, he is carrying the team. He's leading the team because we lost. Piero Quispe was our playmaker last season. He was fantastic, and he went to Pumas in the Liga MX, and we were kind of lacking that attacking midfielder, that player that dictates the tempo in offense. We were not having that, and we hired 2 players, to replace one. One is Canchita Gonzalez, who, by the way, ended his contract with us and ended up going back to Sporting Cristal after the Apertura, and Jairo Concha. And Concha was not that super player that we were expecting to be in the first half of the season, but now after 5 rounds, we can say that we can trust in Jairo in offense.
You wanted to talk a little bit of the 5-ring circus. You wanted to talk a little bit about the Olympics and everything and medals and that kind of thing. What's on your mind with what's going on in Paris?
For the first time in 32 years, my beloved Peru got a medal, a bronze medal in sailing. It was just so emotional because we lost the in surfing the day before. The day before we lost in surfing, our guy Alonso Correa got into the semifinals, and the semifinals were delayed in Tahiti because of the weather. The after a first half that of the tournament that was the waves were spectacular, so high, and it went flat. It was so flat that there's no waves, guys. We cannot compete. No waves. Then finally, waves showed up. But they were not that big as they were in the first half of the of these Olympics. But he did what he could. But it was a little bit of controversy, right? Because they gave him the priority. You know, in surfing, you get the priority. You take the waves first, and then the other guy takes the waves. No? Yeah. And then it was his turn to take the priority with 10 minutes to go. And they were like, no, we're going to give it the priority to the other guy. What? No. We were just crazy. He ended up in 4th place. But he, to be honest, and not because I'm Peruvian, but I thought he deserved better. He could have had the bronze easily. But we got the bronze yesterday on sailing with Stefano Pesquera. And you know what was so amazing? That guy is an Universitario de Deportes fan. On the day of the 100-year anniversary of Universitario de Deportes, an Universitario de Deportes fan gets the medal for Peru after 32 years, man. Isn't that beautiful, man?
Everything comes full circle, brother. You know that. If life is meant to be, when it comes to a circle, you're going to get that moment where everything works its way and the universe goes as it should. And it ends up that way for you in Peru getting a medal in Paris. And when a nation gets a medal and it's in something that's new or they get that kind of experience, you love to see the reaction from the athlete because the athlete knows how much time that has been invested and everyone back home knows what's been invested. That those to me are the moments that are the moments of cool when you finally get that the relief that all of the effort has shown itself into a medal for a country.
Right, like Usain Bolt said, you work 4 years for 90 seconds, for 9 seconds, not 90, for 9 seconds.
90 seconds.
Not 90, no, for 9 seconds. And talking about the 9 seconds, remember I told you that no one was going to run a sub 9.7 in the 100 meters. I said that. Mm-hmm. And what happened? 9.79 was the winner for Noah Lyles. So no sub 9.7 for any sprinter on these Olympics, as I predicted.
Well, and the folks that made that purple track, they're like, no, it's going to be faster. It's going to be you're going to see 0.2 faster. We ain't seen none of that.
No. And of course, the tragedy. No, it's not a tragedy, but another controversy for this Olympics, man. How many controversial situations have we had on this one? It's just ridiculous. Brother. Not letting Sha'Carri Richardson and Cillian Fraser-Price to enter the stadium on time to do the proper warm-up for the 100-meter finals. That was the most expected, race in track and field. And the two biggest superstars, not getting in because they're not arriving in the Olympic boats. Come on, I was so mad. But at the same time, I congratulations to the girl. I forgot her name. I apologize for her. St. Lucy to win the 100 in spectacular fashion. Spectacular fashion.
And to that point, you mentioned St. Lucia getting a medal, and that to me, like I said. When you get the nations that get the medal for the first time, or the obscure nation that gets a medal, to me, that's why I like watching. But I'm locked in. I will say this: I'm locked into Gold Zone that Peacock has up here in the United States. Basically, it's a red zone channel where they go from event to event to event to event. They have guys in studio, and it's like, oh, let's go here. We've got a gold medal alert. We're going to go watch this. They switch from event to event to event. I got locked in. I'm not watching anything live except that because it's fast food. It's like, oh, we're going to ping pong table tennis. We're going to table tennis. There's a medal. We're going to beach volleyball. Here's a medal. So bang, 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 bang. And I'm catching it. I don't have to watch it at night anymore because I'm watching everything going on dayside with rapid fire. Bang, bang, bang. Give me my. Oh yeah, one of the first things that NBC has done right in a long time. Our buddy Nino hanging out with us here. We woke him up on a Thursday to get his Thursday thoughts because he stayed up late watching Saving Private Ryan.
For the 10th time.
But yeah, I mean, I get it. No, absolutely. You stay up late and you get locked into a movie and then you pay for it all day, the rest of the day. When it comes to your time at GOLTV, how many different leagues do you call matches for this time of year?
August is this weekend starts. We're in full force, so we're going all in with Liga Portugal, Liga Pro Ecuador, the Peruvian League, the Uruguayan League, and the Super Cup, Dutch Super Cup, that I just called last weekend. So in average, I do about 250, 260 games a year.
Man, of what, probably a dozen leagues by the time you're done, because you ripped off 5 that you're doing right now. So you figure, what, a dozen different leagues by the time you're done in a year?
Yeah, could be. Yeah.
I mean, first and foremost, how do you keep it all straight? And because I know that there are young announcers out there that listen, that watch. How do you keep it straight with all of these leagues? I know that a lot of your time is spent in South America and South American leagues. How do you keep all of your information straight, and how do you make sure that you're locked in on that particular league at that particular time? Take me through what it's like for you to prep for a match.
Wow. First off, it's crazy when I call games, I got like 5 or 6 screens open at the same time when I'm calling the game. I got like 3 or 4 for the stats. I got the 2 for the previews, and I got 1 more that they gave me on the at the station, right? And every game, every day. So let's see. Sometimes I got like 3. Sometimes I got 4. The most games that I had in one day is 4. But sometimes I got 3, 2. So in a weekend, I do 8 games, right? So get up early, get my breakfast, my workout ready, and then getting all the information on my laptop, and I got to fire up every single number or story or whatever I need to get. I got to write there on my screen, and then I write my what is this? Not my resume. My what is this? The sketch for every game. I write it down,
mm-hmm.
And I have this app that is awesome for announcers, which is it's in Spanish, of course. La pizarra del mister. That's what it's called. Maybe it's the board of the coach. Is what it's called, and it shows you I think I can do share screen. Let me show it to you.
Oh, he tried to share the screen and he bumped himself out. Because Nino's trying to what I wanted to do, considering that Nino does 5-6 games. He said 8. I mean, he'll do like 8 matches in a weekend at GOLTV, and it is crazy that you can do 8 matches in a weekend where you're doing like 3-3-2 or 2-3-3, 2 on a Friday. You go back to back. Then you end up doing 3, like 1-4-7, and then another 3 at 1-4-7 or 12-3-6 or what have you for those kinds of things. But I wanted to kind of get Nino's thoughts on how he does things. You tried to share a screen and
I closed the screen and I closed the window. It happens to me. You know what I hate? It's when I close the window that I need the most during the games.
Mm-hmm.
It's insane, man. All right, let me see. Present, get here, share screen. Share screen.
Let's see if it works. Share the screen. Let's see if it plays. Yeah. Is it going to play nice?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that we have. Oh, okay, all right. So let me see what we got
now.
Let me see if we got the third one. It is. Looks like it's loading on my end.
Yeah.
So when it pops up, we'll show it before we get out of here. But yeah, okay, there we go. All right. So there you go. There's the La Pisada del Mister. There you go.
Right, and then I have the as you can see. I put all the names in there.
Okay.
Right. This is the two formations, and I got that on my screen. So when I got the formations, I just put it in there. Then I need to make substitutions. I'll do it there, and I got that guidance on my laptop as I'm calling the games. That's it's really helpful, man.
So when you're calling a match, are you calling it off of like a big monitor or a small?
Yeah.
How big a monitor are we talking?
It is big. It's like 60 inches.
Yeah, because when Jason and I do matches and we do them in a studio setting, I'll look at it and I'll go, okay, this is the one that controls the broadcast. I've got a laptop. I have 2 laptops. I can do stats and games and everything, but I'll look off to my left and I've got my big 55, 60-inch monitor, and I'll turn and I'll do it off of that monitor. And because I have progressive lenses, just call them bifocals. I love how the ophthalmologist, the eye doctor sits there and goes, we're giving you progressive lenses. It's like,
right.
Just call them bifocals, man. Look, I'm old. I get it. So, but yeah, I'll wear my bifocals and I'll call it off the big monitor. And so I've got, three other computers fired up at the same time. So that's why I wanted to kind of compare notes with you as to how you do it, and let announcers who might be watching or who want to continue to grow their careers. I wanted to get your perspective as to how you call it, because everyone's version is different. And I just wanted to let everybody know how you call a match when they watch you on GOLTV, subtle plug, and they hear you going after officials and players, and you take no ish, man. I mean, you sit there, you're looking at what's going on the field. Something irks you, something gets you mad, and you suffer no fools. And it's like, oh man, why? Well, no, you get up. That's not a foul. Those kind. I love it. I love it the way you talk back to the action, because you don't take any crap from anybody.
I don't, man. I don't. I don't care. I call it as it is. Like I always say during the broadcast, I'll tell the guys, guys, that forgive me to the Benfica fans or the Sporting fans. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it for you, man. If I see something wrong with your team, I'm gonna tell it, and I'm gonna tell you how it is. I'm gonna tell you anything that is not on your screen. Because I'm going to look like a fool because I'm telling you, oh, no, that was not this and that was not that. No. I'm going to tell you how it is, baby. I'm going to tell you how it is. And that's the way I do it.
And you're adding Portugal. You're adding the Portuguese first division this week, right?
Yes. Tomorrow we're kicking off the season with the reigning champions Sporting versus Rio Ave. It goes at 3 p.m. Eastern time. You're still 1 hour ahead, right? You still you got 10? Yes, you got 10:30 over there, right?
Yep, 10:30.
Yeah, we got 9:30. I was gonna say 2, but yeah, it's 3 p.m. Eastern time, and they just played the Super Cup against Porto, 4-3. Porto won. They make a comeback from a 3-0 deficit in the first half, and it's gonna be so exciting to see. If for the first time since I'm calling the league, we're going to see a repeat. Because since I'm calling the league, 2019, I started calling this league. And no one has repeated the title. No one. It's Benfica, Porto, Sporting, Benfica, Porto, Sporting. Okay. 3 times, 6 titles in between the 3. And it was crazy because before, that's why the Sporting fans love me. Because before I started calling the league, their team didn't win it for 19 years. The first title, the last title I won was in 2002. And since I'm calling the league, they won twice, 2021 and 2023. Mm-hmm. And
when next week we'll have Copa Libertadores, Copa Sudamericana to talk about, because that is, let's see, what's today? Thursday. I think Tuesday, Wednesday next week. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we'll have Copa America, Copa Sudamericana to talk about all the things. As always, my friend, it's great to see you. And please go get your ginormous breakfast and do your burpees and blow out the calories and be the hulking mass of humanity that you are, calling 8 matches. And that's another question for a later time that I want to get into, is how you keep your voice, and so how you don't blow it out, and how you manage through a weekend. That's because I know that a lot of young play-by-play guys, they'll go way up, and if they end up having to call 2 or 3 like you, voice is gone by match number 3, and then the next 2 days are messed up. I want to get into that too, and so we can help out young announcers as we go. As always, my friend, great to see you. And go get your breakfast, and we'll catch up with you again next week. Copa Libertadores, Sudamericana, anything else on your mind, helping young announcers, and we'll rock and roll. Love to see you.
Fully loaded, John. Thank you. Appreciate it. See you guys next week.
All right, fully loaded, Nino. And I love that we can bring Nino in to talk stuff. And you know what? I may as well just go ahead and call the segment Fully Loaded. We're going to call the segment Fully Loaded from now on. Literally. We're going to go fully loaded with Nino Torres. And, because it's Thursdays with Niko. Niko's coming up in a bit, and we're going to talk Leagues Cup and everything Major League Soccer. But we're going to go fully loaded with Nino from now on. Guaranteed. That is the name of the segment. Fully loaded with Nino. ESP Nino 74 on the 280 character app at GOLTV. And like I said, with GOLTV, they're on Fanatis. And Jason got me hooked on Fanatis. I blame him. And like I said, this is where I'll watch, if I don't have anything going on and I've got, monitors in front of me, I will dial up Nino. And I will dial up Nino on GOLTV because I want to hear his calls. A, Nino's a good dude. B, because I love him, I want to hear his calls and I want to be supportive. And C, I want to add to my education for the game. I want to watch, Liga 1 Max. I want to watch second division matchups that look like they're shot on Sergio Leone spaghetti Western sets. Swear to God, there was a second division match that I saw. I think it was in Ecuador. And it looked like it was on a spaghetti Western set that was, the Clint Eastwood, fistful of dollars, few dollars more, good, the bad, and the ugly. Looked like that the town was carved out of a mountainside. And it looked like one of those Clint Eastwood movies. But it had a soccer pitch at the bottom of the hill. Gorgeous, gorgeous views. Second division Ecuadorian soccer. And I watched it. That, and to be able to catch up with Nino, I admit it's a little self-serving because A, I like to see him every week. B, I get an education along the way. And C, I get to see him sport his Universitario jerseys and all the other stuff that's going on a weekly basis. So, and thanks to all of you, by the way, who like our number 2 on Thursdays where it's Nino and Niko. Nino and Niko has a following on Thursdays. Everybody's like, they're dialed up. They can't wait for Niko at 10:30. They can't wait for Nino at 10 o'clock to break everything down. So Nino and Niko has turned into our number 2. And it has been absolutely sideways crazy, and people dig it. And we can't thank you enough for listening to our friends and adding to the education that we have. Yes, I did go to the doctor yesterday. I am coughing less, and it's the same thing. It is what is diagnosed as a neurogenic cough. And so that's why you'll see me hit the mute button occasionally. It is less today than it was yesterday. And this is the other thing, where every single year I have this, and I have to go to my ENT and get it checked out. And they take the Novocaine and they spray it up your nose, and you have to swallow it, so that way everything numbs out and you kind of freak out. It's like, am I breathing? And then they take the lightsaber and they go look and see what's going on inside your nasal cavity and your throat and everything. But because of doing this for years, there is a sensitivity that I have, and it happens every year. And I thought I escaped it this year, but I didn't. And so had it treated yesterday. I'm coughing less, but it's still a little bit there. And with the medication, it should be less and less and less as we go, unless I forget to take the medication, which would be a bad thing. But yeah, the neurogenic cough has returned. And that's why, when people make me laugh on the show, I have to hit the mute button because I'm coughing and laughing at the same time. But I had it treated yesterday, and hopefully we're on the mend for this year. Usually it's in February and March, but I made it to August this year. So thanks to my ENTs, and thanks to all of you for putting up with me hitting mute buttons and coughing on the air, because that's not solid behavior on my part. Like I said, Niko coming up in just a little bit. We'll go over Leagues Cup, everything else going on in Major League Soccer, all the moves. Word out of Cincinnati is that defender Isaiah Foster has undergone successful knee surgery to repair a torn patellar tendon, and he is missing the remainder of the 2024 MLS season, according to the club. Surgery performed at FC Cincinnati by FC Cincinnati Chief Medical Officer Dr. Matthew Bussam at Mercy Health West. Scored his first goal for the club earlier this season against Cavalier in the Triple C. So Isaiah Foster out for the season for FC Cincinnati. So just when you thought that they needed two center backs because they don't have Miazga and Hagland, they now don't have Miazga, Hagland, and Foster. So Cincinnati issues at the back. And I think that they're going to have to go chasing after some folks, and they may end up being continue to be exposed unless they just continue to outscore folks. Okay, last half hour of the show on a Thursday. We know what that means. It means this. Beat 2, 3, 4. Means we go to Seattle and catch up with our buddy, Niko Moreno. What cup of coffee are you on? What is the mug? What is in it? Oh, he went Rave Green this morning. Okay, I see how this works. It's a match day. So he's dialed up. I see how this works. I do want to talk a boatload of Leagues Cup with you. And we got transfer news. We got all these kinds of things. We're out of the group stage in the round of 32. We had two matches last night that we had winners. One was a team out of Los Angeles. The other was not a team out of Canada. So out of the group stage, what are some of your takeaways about what did or didn't happen in the group stage here with Leagues Cup?
All right. First of all, hello to my SDH family. Cup number 2. Nice little Colombian roast here. Yeah, I mean, Leagues Cup was fun, was entertaining. Probably the thing that stands out the most is a little bit off the field. It seemed like a lot of the atmosphere just quite wasn't there. Maybe a lot of the attendance. I've heard mixed reviews about it. Some people saying that the attendance went up from last Leagues Cup. Some that it hasn't been great. It looks, I mean, to the blind eye, and it's tough to really gauge exactly numbers because there are numbers of tickets sold. There's numbers of tickets, seats in butts and seats. There's like a whole bunch of different things that maybe I'll be looking into, at least for the Sounders at some point, and seeing what the difference in those numbers were. But the reality was that, places like Atlanta, that's usually unbelievable atmosphere. What's a couple of games, it wasn't really there. The Sounders, just the last game, there was no capo, there was no drummers. I mean, that kind of thing stands out for a crowd, atmosphere that usually is pretty vibrant. I heard that ECS wasn't doing necessarily any sort of boycotting, that it was just volunteers weren't there for this one, and they usually are volunteers for tifos, volunteers for a whole bunch of stuff. So I just wanted to put that out there. I like the tournament, entertainment wise. I think that Mexican teams got a little bit of their own medicine, and coming into a tournament where they're just getting started with theirs, maybe put things more in a balance. And we got a lot of the gigantes or the grandes from Mexico out. Chivas was a surprise to me that they got out the way that they did, especially in that group. Monterrey was absolutely surprised that they got out. Tan Ortiz was a casualty of that happening. He's out of there. I think that a lot of MLS teams have done well, especially maybe using this as a spark to reignite their own season overall. I'm talking about San Jose, who I did not expect in this stage of the tournament. I'm talking about Austin, who, I mean, they went out swinging. So, yeah, I think it's been a fun tournament for sure.
Have you seen in Seattle, and you mentioned the lack of fan engagement, have you seen there's been backlash with some supporters groups about ticket prices, not a fan of Leagues Cup, boycotting Leagues Cup over, going to Open Cup, those kinds of things? What has the response been? Has it been tied to any of those, or is it just it's an extra ticket and I don't have the money for it and I'm not going? I mean, what's the vibe up there that you've been able to gather?
Yeah, there's been nothing official or formal from anybody from ECS in terms of boycotting this specific tournament, but there has been a broad amount of comments from a lot of season ticket holders, ECS members, that the ticketing was just too high, that this tournament's not really as interesting as they would like, and this team right now maybe isn't playing at the level that they're used to. Some have even went on to say that maybe they feel like the team has been less committed to them, less committed to success by not bringing in more players. So I think that there's been a variety of things that kind of have created the perfect storm, and still there's still more like crowds, bigger crowds than other stadiums. I think the last one was 26,000, at least the number they reported. But I think that there is a combination of things between a lot of people not really being interested in this tournament. The matchups that were out here didn't help, right? Necaxa is not a gigante or even a mid-table team, a mid-popularity team. I mean, when I went to the Necaxa game, I saw more Cruz Azul and Club America jerseys on the stadium that I did Necaxa. I mean, they just went to watch a Mexican team. And then the fact that, of course, the team isn't playing brilliant, entertaining soccer, and I think that also had to do with it.
I think that the point that you make about the Liga MX sides and Necaxa not being a grande, and you have Liga MX fans gravitating toward it, but I would imagine you're not going to have a whole lot of Necaxa fans catching a flight to Seattle to go watch a match at Lumen. It means a great deal to the Liga MX sides, this particular tournament, even though there are no home matches currently in Mexico. You mentioned Monterrey, who didn't make it out of group. They were in an elimination match in group with another Liga MX side. They fire their head coach because Monterrey, again, doesn't get out of the early stages of a tournament of meaning. And you're just like, okay, bro, that's it. You're out. I mean, they're taking this stuff seriously. I mean, last year, Tuca Ferretti got fired for not making it out of the round of 32. And now you have what happened with a grande in a tournament that has no bearing on Liga MX standings. They're like, no, you didn't get out of group. You're gone. It means a lot more, I think, in a lot of different ways. It means more than we may realize to the Liga MX side.
Yeah, I mean, anyone who says that Mexican teams, Mexican staff members, or Mexican players that are in this tournament don't take this Cup Series are either delusional or they are fans that are trying to save face by saying, "Oh, my team got out because they weren't really into it, and they didn't really care, and they rotated." It's a lie. I mean, every single person that I talk to, and all you have to do is look at the games, look at some of the scrums or scuffles in the games and the red cards here and there. And then now, obviously, the casualties after not succeeding within the tournament. I mean, there's clearly an interest overall, and there's always going to be an interest when you put your team in this situation. There is a price, a monetary price. There is obviously a spot into a bigger tournament that's on the line. And then there's just the prestige and the respect of your league that is always going to be part of this discussion. So, of course, they care. And, of course, it's important. Tuca Ferretti, obviously, last tournament was a casualty. Now, Tano, I mean, it's pretty obvious that there is a big desire to go through. I talked to Lalo, the coach of Necaxa, and he was pretty clear about, we want to win this, and they went into this game against Seattle kind of defeated. I mean, or at least people thought they were defeated and they weren't going to make it, and they were supposed to be the team that was going to get out because they were playing in Seattle against the Sounders team that had been in good form, and they beat them 3-1. And he talked about it afterwards. We wanted to win. We wanted to put it all out there. We came out here with an objective in mind, and we got it done. So it's obvious that there is a high level of importance that a lot of teams, Mexican teams, are putting into this tournament.
When we are here in this particular window, we still have about a week left in the transfer window for Major League Soccer. And some big names are now being tossed around. And we'll get into the other moves that have happened. Tim Ream to Charlotte, that broke yesterday during the show. So we finally had some breaking news happen during the show and not like at 11:15 when we're off the air.
There you go.
Tim Ream to Charlotte. So he signs for a 2 and an option for a 3 at the age of 36. You've got Marco Royce and LAG paying $350,000 apparently to Charlotte for the dibs on Marco Royce. I mean, look, I'm to the point where now, I don't like the rule in the first place. I think it's silly that discovery rights.
Yeah.
It's dibs, basically. That's what it is. It's dibs. It's like you're on the playground, and it's like the Capital One commercial where you're picking the guys for the pickup basketball. I pick Barkley. That's what discovery rights are for me. It's like literally, I'm waiting for an MLS team, and I don't know if discovery rights are ever published. I'm waiting for an MLS team to sit there and just go ahead and knock out like Jude Bellingham. Just go ahead and say, I've got discovery rights on Jude Bellingham. So in 12 years, when he's 30 or 31, and he wants to come to Major League Soccer, 12 years now, somebody has discovery rights on Jude Bellingham. That's how silly that is to me. That LAG had to pay $350,000, apparently. I think Fabrizio Romano had the number, to get Marco Royce's discovery rights so they could sign him apparently to a deal to go to LAG. And it's another one of those Chiellini year and a half with another option kind of a thing. And I'm sure that there's NIL money that's attached to it to kind of get it over the line. But A, discovery rights are silly. B, they continue to be silly. C, LAG continues to add firepower with Marco Royce. I don't know how he fits in, considering that you've got the killer peas out there. I don't know how Marco Royce fits in, but they went ahead and added another asset apparently.
Yeah, I feel like let's start there. I feel like LAG are competing with the guys next door, and they want their own big name. Absolutely. They want their own big European. But I'm with you. I don't think he's a good fit. And I think that you are, and I believe I said this here before in this same show, that Greg Vanny and LAG are playing with fire in a way that if you're messing with the chemistry of a team that's already moving at a certain pace, and they're clearly synchronized, and there's obviously a fluidity to their attacking power, whether it's with the triple Ps, whether it's with Pencil at the 9 and Fagundes playing at the left. Fagundes deserves and has shown you, has earned minutes, and has been fantastic. His ability to just use the inside channels, his ability to score, to link up play, to engage. I mean, everything that the Fagundes has done needs to be rewarded. And now you're going to put him in a position where he doesn't like to be, because he's been there in Austin. He's been there in New England, where he's the guy that took a team from being average to really good, and all of a sudden he's the guy on the bench because somebody else is brought in. Whether he deserves it or not, it continues to happen to him. So where is that going to go? How is the locker room going to react? I feel like it's also assets spent in an area of the field that they don't really need it. I thought that a defensive midfielder, someone else to help you when Bergman's not there. I don't know if Cerrillo's enough at times. Delgado needs help. So I thought that was the part of the field where they were going to bring in somebody with those characteristics, but they didn't. So that's kind of my thoughts on that specific point. And then, yes, discovery rights, they are silly. I've talked to many front office staff to not give up any positions about that sort of thing. And it is kind of odd. And funny enough, although not public, I have heard that there are some European names that you would kind of giggle at least, that are part of teams' discovery rights, because you're waiting and seeing maybe that's going to happen. Maybe that's going to work. Maybe he's looking for a way out sooner than most. And, you do kind of realize that a lot of players from Europe are starting to maybe think about MLS a little bit sooner in their career than in the past. So you do put those names out there and you hope for the best, but it is kind of silly. It is something that I don't know if it'll go away, to be honest, by conversations I've had. So I don't know if they'll adjust it and modify it and make it a little bit more serious. But at this time, I totally agree with you.
And you mentioned names in Europe and LAG trying to keep up with the folks. Let's see, Carson up the freeway, up the 5. Well, because I was trying, it's like, all right, so I've played golf in Carson, and because I have family out there. So full disclosure, I played golf at a cow pasture in Carson that's right next to the Goodyear blimp facility. So literally you go to the 13th hole and you're right up against the fence line and you're teeing off in the tee box. You look to the left and there's a Goodyear blimp. But I was like, okay, so if Carson is here, then where is BMO Stadium? It's up there. So yeah, it's up.
It is up.
LA, with LAG getting Marco Royce on dibs, I'm Griezmann now is being linked to going to LAFC to hang out with the prettiest man in Major League Soccer, Olivier Giroud, and his other buddy, Hugo Lloris. And so LAFC, once again, trying to, with John Thorrington, find your capologist, see what you can do. And I think it's going to be another one of those Chiellini-type deals where you've got NIL and sponsor dollars and other things that will work in on the backside to have him fit in under the cap, but still be part of something where man's going to get paid. They've got to be creative about it, I think, if you're LAFC.
I mean, LAFC went French, man, and they're not afraid to just say it. I mean, I'm waiting for Karim Benzema to maybe come and kick the ball around a little bit with the LAFC team, right? And we saw Olivier Giroud yesterday with Will Ferrell laughing and loving it, and the suite that they had him on, and then he was on the field. That's the LAFC shine, man. And, not everybody can say, hey, man, you're going to kick it with Will Ferrell through 90-minute game. And that's just what they have going for themselves. So, yeah, Griezmann has been linked to them. That's another player where I don't know where they're going to fit that many people. I mean, they already shipped Tomas Angel to Phoenix Rising because he was never going to see the field. Never going to see the field. So you move him on to Phoenix Rising. I think he was a very good player. I was surprised a team like Seattle didn't take a swing at him on a loan. But yeah, so it is the LAFC way. And if Griezmann come, I feel like Griezmann can still do a lot of things. I mean, no disrespect to Giroud, but Griezmann's it's a fantastic player and has maybe I feel like he fits in better into the MLS style of play. So we'll see how that ends up kind of playing itself out. But if any indication of the smiles and the demeanor and the body language that I saw from the prettiest man in MLS now last night, I mean, everybody's going to want to come. I mean, you saw the grin on his face. I mean, my goodness, he's happy to be here. He sounds happy to be here. I mean, it just works. So LAFC, to their credit, have done a fantastic job at globalizing their brand, are making that a must-have destination for players in Europe, and everybody's thinking about it, right? It's either LA or Inter Miami. I mean, it just seems to be just the two places where if I'm going to go there, right? I mean, folks here in Seattle took a picture of Griezmann with like a Mariners hat and stuff, and they wanted to see him here. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. He's not coming to Seattle. He's not going to come to Seattle. If he goes, going to LA, going to the big metropolis of soccer in the moment, and that's just what's going to happen.
Yeah, and it also speaks to just go ahead and open up the salary cap. I mean, you got to widen the cap, but I think you've also got to give it a floor. So we're not always sitting here looking at LAG, looking at LAFC, looking at Messi and friends, and seeing all of these deals happen. And then, sit there and go wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Sure, you're under the cap. You're winking to the point to where your eye hurts. You're under the salary cap, but once again, it's how you navigate all of these other aspects. I mean, look, when you've got Lionel Messi in a Lowe's commercial, he's moving shopping carts and 2x4s in a parking lot, talking about going past dudes about home improvement. That's how you make it up with the salary cap currently being what it is. It's commercials. It's getting your face out there and getting folks to sit there and go, the most handsome man in Major League Soccer is at In-N-Out Burger, and he's eating there. That's how you're doing these things right now until you open up the cap space a little bit. We talk about shiny objects, but then Columbus comes in and you look at what they do and it's not shiny. Yeah, you're going, okay, so Columbus did a Columbus thing, but they're bringing in a defender from River Plate in Andres Herrera. That's not going to get you a whole lot of shine and folks smiling, and you get the gleam from the teeth, and you see Cartman going, look at all my money. No, you're not getting that. But Columbus just does something that Columbus does that fits Columbus. We've got a loan on a defender to help them out, get over the line again. Crew did a Crew thing, and it seems to fly below the radar because it's Crew.
Yeah, let me just start by saying that as someone who is pro the salary cap, I know that the wink, sometimes it can be a little bit frustrating, especially for a lot of folks from teams that just don't have that sort of resources. But I also feel like it does obligate and makes teams like Inter Miami have to rely and develop guys like Bright, guys like Alfonso, guys like Taylor. I mean, there's just a lot of players that are on that team that maybe if you opened up the salary cap baseball wise, maybe Inter Miami and Atlanta will turn into the Yankees and the Red Sox, and is a whole bunch of stars, and none of the younger players get a chance to get out there, or at least the players that are developing through the academies. So I think that's why I'm so pro it. Maybe open it up a little bit more, maybe do a little bit of things, but I am pro it. And yes, Columbus, in a very Columbus way, bring a guy like Andres Herrera that's going to be a stud in this league. I feel like he's going to come in, he's going to do work. He's not only a great fit for this particular team, but he's someone that has a lot of potential to come in, be great, some resale value even. I mean, he's only 25, and he is, if you look at the scouting report, he's a guy that does a lot of things right. His ability to come off with the ball, his delivery from the back line. I mean, he's just a Columbus guy. So he's going to be interesting what they do with Camacho and the rest of that already pretty full, pretty talented back line that they have. Now, that's not enough. Well, we'll give you a little bit something else. So we're going to bring DeJuan Jones, another guy that's a good fit for this team that kind of felt like he was being wasted in New England. And now you're going to come in. You have another option there out wide. I mean, Columbus just knows how to shop. They have the structure. They have the coaching. And they don't need to go out there and be the guys that are going to bring in Marcelo at 44 years old to just get butts in the seats. They don't need that. They just need to continue to work, continue to believe in their structure, and they're a scary team. In Miami, Columbus, roster-wise, the best two teams in MLS, in my opinion.
What did you think of Tim Ream to Charlotte?
I thought that was great. Not necessarily what they needed again,
yes,
but you can start it.
Where's the goal scored? Where's the help up top, man?
Where's the attackers? I guess you just want to specialize on what you're already doing right. I mean, I don't know. I think it's a great player because of the leadership he provides, the certainty. You know, he's like a seatbelt that is gonna bend and not break back there. He provides you with another player that coming out of the back in a team that at times suffers there with some of the high press, gives you some insurance in that position, but not necessarily what I was waiting for. Everybody's waiting for the 10, everybody's waiting for the 9 for that particular team, and just wasn't quite there, I guess. There's still a week, like you said, left of the window for them to go out and get somebody. But in general senses, I like it. I mean, I would bring him on my team. I mean, he showed you at the national team level what he can provide and how good he can be. And having a veteran, experienced player of that caliber does make winning teams and does make championship teams. So if you believe that defense wins championships, then there you go. I mean, you bring in that guy.
And in SEC country, everybody knows about defense winning championships. Tonight, as you take a sip from the mug, as we discussed Leagues Cup, 4 matches tonight. The other 10 are tomorrow, and that gets you ready for the round of 16. LAG and Seattle tonight in the juice boxes. Seattle is favored at a -116. Your draw is a +278 in the composite, courtesy of our friends at Odds Portal. LAG to win is a +289 of one of the 4 matches. What do you think?
Oh my God. I mean, that's some great numbers. As I sit with this hat and this mug, I mean, oh my goodness. I might have to go. I might have to go right after this. I mean, that's some great numbers. Look, no disrespect to the home team, and they might just slap me in the face and shut me up tonight and have a fantastic game, but Pepe de la Vega out in this one. Raul Ridia still out in this one. I don't know I know that they don't match up well with this team. Fullbacks have been an issue, or fullback play has been an issue for the Sounders. They've rotated a lot. It's become a little bit of a rotating door. I would not be surprised if we see Christian Roldan at the right back position in this one, because Alex struggled in the last game. And Reed, a guy that's very interesting and has a lot of potential, really struggled against Necaxa in the last game. When you're going against the Triple Ps and you have a team that is as polished and in sync in transition play and getting the ball out wide, and they just have the goods. But when you have that much firepower up top and specifically out wide, whether it's with their fullbacks, interchanging, doing the overloads with the overlaps, plus the talent they have up top, and you got a guy like Gabriel Peck that seems to just submit you into submission. I mean, he is a guy that's just faster, stronger. He's going to play the ball forward. obviously knew who's going to be there today and is going to try to hold them up. Seattle has done well, and Brian was very defensive when he came to how we kind of planted or set up the questions about his team going against the LA Galaxy. He said, whoa, listen, we held them up pretty well in a couple of games. We've been able to limit them. We've made it difficult for them. And he's right. They have done that. I just don't know if they're in the best run of form, and coming in from a disappointing 3-1 loss against the Necaxa cannot be good against this LA Galaxy team. So I just don't think they match up well, and I would take that for sure. I think I would. I know. I'm going to say it. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I will take LA Galaxy with those numbers, and I myself might go put some juice boxes.
Well, I mean, right now we're almost to the end of your segment, so you can go ahead and dash up before you get to go into Soccer Bar and Pulso Sports. Messi and friends are favored tonight against Toronto. Tigres on the plus side against Pachuca at a plus 102. That one's at Q2 in Austin. You're at 10:30 Eastern time. Sounders and LAG. San Jose and Necaxa. Necaxa is a road favorite at a plus 133. And the Earthquakes are a plus 189 tonight. And then we have the other 10 matches, 10 matches tomorrow to get us to the round of 16. All right. I know that you've got Soccer Bar and Pulso Sports. So what's going on with Soccer Bar and Pulso Sports?
Yeah, Soccer Bar, we're actually not doing a show today. We're going to wait for the rest of the games of the round of 32. We only have two games that we're going to discuss today. So we decided to push that back. We're going to bring it back on Monday with just the entirety of that round of 32. We're working on a couple of really good exclusives for the fans to have on Monday. So just kind of doing the work to give you guys a better show on Monday. And then Pulso Sports, of course, we're going to have everything that happens there tonight, whether it's the Sounders shocking with their great play and pushing through to the next round, and maybe a player or Brian coming to me and saying, you were wrong. And obviously the interviews, everything that goes on there. Should be a fun game at the very least. So yeah, that's what you'll get at Pulso Sports.
As always, my friend, it's great to see you on Thursdays to put a bow on the Thursday show and give everybody your perspective of everything Major League Soccer and everything else that's going on in front of us. Be well, my friend. Have a good broadcast and enjoy the match tonight with the numbers that are completely and totally out of whack. And we will catch up with you next week, my friend. I always appreciate it.
No, man, thank you. I appreciate it. It's going to be a fun night of Leagues Cup. I do see Necaxa winning, man. I really like what they showed against the Sounders. Really like their head coach. Seems to really understand how to break down teams and kind of get at their Achilles heel. So watch out for Necaxa. They're interesting.
All right, so watch out for Necaxa. We'll catch up with you next week.
Have a good one.
All right, there goes Niko. And like I said, it's all Thursday's hour number 2. Is always a blast because of Nino and Niko. I always enjoy bringing them in to get their perspectives on everything. And so Niko's off to do Pulso Sports things, and Niko will be back with us again next week, as will Nino. And we'll have, like I said, we'll have Libertadores, Sudamericana, and all the other leagues with Nino, and we'll continue pushing through Leagues Cup with Niko Moreno and our friends at Pulso Sports. We mentioned those juice boxes today. Once again, just to give you the quick numbers about tomorrow and the remainder of the round of 32. Crew a big favorite at home on the minus side at 204. DC United favored at home against the Kraken in Mazatlan at a minus 127. FC Cincinnati favored at a minus 185 up against Santos Laguna, who's north of plus 460. Revs, a home dog against NYC, who's a plus 110. Cruz Azul favored on the road at the Purple Team at a plus 145. Union, big favorite at home at a minus 149 going up against CF Montreal. And I don't know if you've seen what is going on with the youth system at CF Montreal. Apparently everyone is leaving, going to Toronto, and CF Montreal doesn't seem to want to try and keep a lot of the youth program around. So there is a massive egress going on involving the youth program at CF Montreal. St. Louis City SC. They are favored at home slightly at a plus 146. Portland coming to town. Toluca is a favorite going up against Houston Dynamo at a plus 136. Rapids on the road going up against Juarez are a favorite at a plus 116. And Club America and Atlas. Club America is a 141, a minus 141 with Atlas at a plus 382. And just to remind you of where the matches are involving home teams, Tigres is playing at Q2 in Austin. You have DC and Mazatlan. Apparently, that one is still trying to be determined because of the pitch issues that forced a move of a DC match at the end of the group stage to Philly in front of 1,100 fans. So we'll find out. We'll see if Audi Field gets the okie doke when it comes to inspection, or if they have to find another venue. You have Toluca playing at Hell in a Shell. So basically, Toluca and Houston are playing at the home of the Houston Dynamo, but Toluca is the home team. Juarez is playing as the home team at Colorado at Dick's Sporting Goods Park, and this one will be fun. The late match tomorrow, Club America and Atlas, free side of Apple TV, Univision, and FS1. It's at Snapdragon in San Diego. That one's going to be a fun view. I want to see how many folks make their way to Snapdragon. Capacity, I think, is 32. And so we'll see what Snapdragon looks like late tomorrow night. And we'll see what the crowd is with America and Atlas in the round of 32. We mentioned the other stuff that's going on with viewing today. And let me double check and see if there's any other news before we get out of here today. Happy birthday to Kareem Tamimi. Kareem the Dream, integral part for Atlanta United 2. And remember that we're going to have the Twos and Toronto FC 2 on the network on Sunday night. And that is a 7:30 start. So we will be on the air at 7 o'clock, and we will be giving you the Twos to see if they can extend their win streak to 3 in a row after the last 2 times out, beating Revs 2 and beating Huntsville City Football Club in succession. So we'll see what happens this weekend with the Twos and Toronto FC 2. 7 o'clock pregame on the network. 7:33 is kickoff. So we'll see how Atlanta United 2 and Toronto FC 2 go on the weekend. If you missed it, go back to soccerdownhere.net and you can catch Soccer's in Session. That is back on the college side. We are starting all of our college previews, the news and notes, and getting everybody acquainted with everybody across the state with the close to 30 programs, men's and women's, that are here in the state of Georgia. And we're going to be catching up with a lot of those folks and getting their thoughts on their conferences, their divisions, because it's not just Division I, Division II and NAIA and Division III. And so we're going to be catching up with a lot of folks around the state as the season starts. And if you missed the interviews that we got from Georgia State's Media Day yesterday, you can go ahead and dive into those on our social media as well, where Jason caught up with the GSU Panthers as they get ready for their season. They've got a road scrimmage against West Georgia coming up. So if you are in the Carrollton area, or if you want to make the trek out to Carrollton and go see GSU and UWG, you can do that as well. So let me thank everybody who was hanging out here today. And as always, thanks for everybody who always who wants to hang out with us here as we go through everything on the morning show. Morning, Alex. Morning, D. Graham. Morning, David. Morning, Derek. Morning to me. Morning, Four Card. And there you go. So once again, thanks to all of you guys for hanging out with us. Back in a little less than 22. And tomorrow, once again, our friends from hopefully Beyond Goals, if we can track them down, we'll get your weekend started. We will preview the UPSL National Finals. Our friends from Inland Empire FC will be with us at 10. We caught up with our friends from Rochester NYFC. That'll be after, and caught up with them as well. And like I said, we are efforting Dodge City Toros and Soda City so we can make hour number 2 a preview of all 4 teams in the national final, but we'll keep you posted on that. So very, very busy show to get us into the weekend. And don't forget that we will have all of our preview material up from USL Championship, USL League One, and MLS Next Pro to get you ready for the weekend, in addition to the UPSL National Finals and getting ready for the college game. So that's a show. And hopefully I didn't cough too much. Well, like I said, it's being treated, and we're back to that time of year. So thanks for putting up with me. Thanks to Nino and Niko. And also thanks to Coach Shawn down at Coastal Outreach. And it was great to catch up with them. Tomorrow night, if you're in Brunswick and you want to go check out what Coastal Outreach Soccer has been doing as they turn 20, they've got their big to-do. They have their official shindig, 6 to 9 tomorrow night in Brunswick. So you can catch up with our friends at Coastal Outreach and find out how they've grown over the last 19 years as they head into year number 20. So back at it again, 9:05 tomorrow morning. Remember, I'll be in Columbus in a hotel room. Keeping my fingers crossed about the Wi-Fi. So we'll see what happens there. You know the guests and you know what we're up to. So see you in a little less than 22. And we know what that means. It's time for me to whistle us out of here.